and DonLevy, Multicultural Education, 6030.21, Assignment 1.1, Part 1. How Equity Literate Educators Can Transform Learning Environments to Address the Needs of All Students. In Multicultural Education by Banks and Banks, 2016, I learned that multicultural education encompasses at least three things. First, it incorporates the idea that all students, regardless of their gender, sexual orientation, social class, and ethnic, racial, or cultural characteristics, should have an equal opportunity to learn. Second, it is a reform movement that is trying to make curricular changes, but also changes to the whole school environment. Lastly, multicultural education is a process whose ideals will never fully be realized, but educators must continually work towards. I also learned from Banks and Banks 2016, some teachers believe that multicultural education is something that not all teachers need to participate in because of the content they teach. However, when I continued to read, Banks and Banks 2016 go on to discuss the dimensions of multicultural education, and it became apparent to me that that is not true. All educators need to be aware of the existence of inequality and work toward equality for all students. A great place for teachers to start thinking about multicultural education is with Paul Gorski's 2017 Equity Literacy for Educators, Definitions and Abilities. He explains that equitable educators should be proficient not only in cultural knowledge, but also with the knowledge and skills to ensure and advocate for equity. Gorski lists 4 abilities that are essential for educators. 1. To recognize even the subtlest biases and inequalities. 2. To respond to biases and inequalities. 3. To redress biases and inequalities in the long term. And 4. To create and sustain bias-free and equitable classroom, schools, and institutional cultures. To me, these abilities seem like a continuum that build on each other. A teacher who cannot recognize the subtle biases in materials or interactions of the classroom will not be able to create and sustain a bias-free school. All educators need to be aware there are biases and then be vigilant to find them. For myself, I am able to see some of the biases that exist, and I think I've been able to adequately develop knowledge and skills to intervene in the classroom. Now, I would say that I am ready, with the help of this course, to build my abilities to be more of an advocate to the inequalities at the school level. These abilities have a common language to open discussions among the educators. If all teachers and administrators were working on the equity literacy abilities, I see that great changes could be made at the school and district level. Part 2. Reflect upon a time from your own schooling when you felt especially included, engaged, appreciated, and validated. Explain why it is important for students to be validated and appreciated in the classroom through an equitable learning environment. As I think back to a time when I felt especially included, it would be in my senior English class. Dr. Dyer was a quirky teacher who believed wholeheartedly that all students could write and write well. I grew up in New Jersey in the 80s, and at the time there was not writing tests to determine if I would graduate. I had taken care of those minimum basic skills when I was a freshman. Dr. Dyer wanted us to be confident writers to prepare us for life. All through school, I was not a great speller. I had an extensive vocabulary thanks to my father, but would choose words I knew how to spell instead when I was doing a writing assignment. Dr. Dyer noticed this about me and proposed I use a small dictionary when I was writing in class. The dictionary was pocket-sized and basically listed the words. I didn't need to know the definition, just how to spell them. Of course, my written vocabulary expanded and my grades went up, all because Dr. Dyer took the time to notice me and offer a way to support me. I continued to use that little dictionary for many, many years to come. It is important for all students to feel validated and appreciated in the classroom because it provides an environment that a student can ideally learn and grow. They feel safe to explore and take risks. This is less likely to happen when students have an environment that they feel they have to be on guard or they already feel like they're behind the other students. Students will grow the most if they know they feel support, not only by their teacher, but by their classmates as well. All students deserve to have educators who, as Gorski 2017 says, see beyond just cultural competence and diversity awareness, but are striving to see the subtle ways in which access and opportunity are distributed unfairly, and then advocate for equality for all to create a biased, free, and equitable classroom, school, and district.